Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman, the film coming out later this year, and I guess also the DC Universe as well. And we are in the year of 2025, which some are calling the year of Superman. And look, that might be a bit too forward, maybe a bit too presumptuous, maybe a bit too cocky, but you never know. It could be, that could easily be the case. Once we hit December 31st and look back at the year that has come and all the movies that have come out, and maybe Superman does reign supreme. But this will be the first Superman film or solo film in over 10 years. Of course, there was Batman v Superman, but don't know if you can really count that specifically a Superman film. But of course, the last one was Man of Steel back in 2013. So what's that? Just over 12 years to be precise. Just over 12 years to be more precise. So there is a lot of excitement for what the film will contain, as well as a lot of anxiety around how it will perform, because it just doesn't have to perform for its own sake, to prove that people wanted to actually see the character of Superman again. In turn, also, I guess, the box office numbers possibly reflecting the quality of the film as well, but it also has to set up a solid foundation for the DC Universe coming after it. This is step one. But step two is Supergirl. The following year, you would assume Supergirl doesn't do as well box office wise as Superman does. So these numbers mean something to judge where we're going, forward with all of this. But in this video, I don't really want to focus on all the, the potential, disaster or whatever it is. I don't want to focus on that. I wanted to go over what I think, for me at least, are the main things behind James Gunn's Superman film, of course starring David Corenswet as Superman, succeeding at the box office and being well received enough with this DC universe going forward. Of course, starring David Corenswet as Superman, succeeding at the box office and also being well received enough, where this DC universe going forward has something to sort of stand on. Of course, the first trailer is the first thing to bring up for this film, outside of my main reasons, and that's because the trailer was pretty damn well received in regards to eyeballs. A lot of people saw it. The trailer itself is a very solid seller as well. Is it the best trailer of all time? Is it a perfect trailer? No, it's not, but I think you would have to be coming in from a very negative point of view to say there wasn't anything good or exciting about it, at least based off that trailer. So the trailer is a very good first step in regards to this doing well, but it's not a main point we're going to talk about. But of course, let's get into that first main point. So the first one is something I, mentioned earlier on, or at least, pointed out briefly. It's the absence of character on the big screen. It's been over 10 or 12 years, around just over 12 years. I think by the time Superman comes out, it'll be just over 12 years, because Man of Steel came out in June of 2013, and this is coming out in July of 2025. So just over 12 years apart from Man of Steel to the release of this just called Superman film. That's a long absence. And of course, Batman v Superman was there, but of course, Batman v Superman was pretty much one of the big issues with the DCEU in regards to, I guess, like the general public and the faith, and I guess, the trust maybe in regards to that universe going forward. Regardless of whether you liked it or didn't like it, it just was this like fracture point within the DCEU, and it just really never felt like it recovered from that at all. Of course, there were little successes here and there, like a Wonder Woman, like an Aquaman, and some other things like that. But it just really couldn't come back to it. That was sort of a fracture point. That's not necessarily dissing the movie, because whether you like it or not, who cares? It was just, you can look back at it, it was clearly a fracture point. And you can tell that Batman v Superman and also the Justice League situation just sort of put Superman on the back burner. So it will be interesting to see what that absence of character, or the absence of Superman on the big screen, does. For me, I think it's going to draw a decent amount of people to it. But there is one big thing that you can say against the film as well, and that's the absence of the character on the big screen. There are young kids who maybe 12, maybe they're 15, maybe they're even 18 or something, that just don't care about Superman because he hasn't been there. Meanwhile, Spider-Man's been there, Batman's been there, of course, and all these other heroes. Thor's been there, and all these other heroes have had trilogies or whatever it is within that time, but Superman hasn't. So I think it's a thing going forward in one way, because there's been a hunger for, maybe people 25 plus that have been like, well, we haven't got this solo Superman movie for so long. But then it also goes against it in regards to maybe the younger crowd, because the character's just not been there, but he's meant to be like, what, a top 3 superhero of all time, but he hasn't had the focus really in the past decade. So it's something that goes heavily for it, but in some way goes against it, though I think it's with a lesser portion of the potential market there. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I, for one, think if you can sell it well in the trailers and stuff, which I think it has, I think kids buy into it fairly easily, even if they have no sort of recognition of the character of Superman at this stage. But then maybe with the other side in regards to the older thing, maybe it's trying to repair some of the potential quote unquote damage, whether you believe it or not, from those couple of previous iterations with Superman as a main character. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think overall it's more of a positive, the character not being there for this film, just because there is that hunger. The second thing going for it for me, and it's a pretty simple one, though we are basing it off the trailer, and it's a teaser trailer as well. So hopefully when we get more of like a proper official trailer where there's a bit more content within it, it gives us a bit more idea. But the second thing is tone. Based off the trailer, I like what they're doing with the tone for this film, but once again, it was just a teaser trailer, so it's really hard to get a quick grip on it. We have heard James Gunn talk about like referencing the Silver Age stuff, which has the potential to get goofy, and as in like maybe a little bit too goofy, but I think Gunn will balance it off fairly well. I don't think he's going to lean too heavily into it to the point where it becomes unbalanced and someone could just be shaking their head the entire movie going, this is so stupid, what the hell's going on here? I don't think Gunn's going to do that. I think there's going to be some sort of pretty clear balance with that sort of like fun comic booky Silver Age tone, with also trying to create, not as like serious as in like, oh, it's like there's nothing funny about it or there's like no one smiling, but a bit more just a grounded tone to an extent. So the tone is something that I think will resonate with a lot of people regardless of age, because you can have that fun stuff, but then also something like a more serious storyline throughout that grips someone that might not be into that more comic booky goofy tone. So I think the balance there, from what I can tell from the teaser trailer, is there, but it will be something to keep your eyes out for when it comes to further promotional material heading closer and closer to July when the film comes out. The third one is clearly something they're doing. I think no one, you can't say it's not happening because it's clearly a factor, but I think it's going to work. And it sort of plays into maybe like the absence of character thing, and that is nostalgia. They are clearly trying to play into the Christopher Reeve element of nostalgia with this film, just with the score and everything with the guitar. And all that plays into that nostalgia and everything like that. And I know some people are going to be against it, and they're probably the people that don't like that iteration of Superman. But the thing is that you got to appeal to the masses, and that Superman theme and a lot of that stuff regarding the Christopher Reeve stuff is so iconic to the Superman brand. It's hard to not put it in here, especially when Gunn's trying to think to meld the best of the past, present, and going into the future. So the nostalgia overall, I think, is going to be a massive thing that plays into the success of this film. And the last one might seem like such a little one, like, oh, obviously, like, you're an idiot. But it's always going to play into it when a movie's coming out and there's hype and anticipation and whatever it might be. And that's a simple point of excitement. It's exciting. And this, of course, plays into the first point to a degree where, once again, the character's been absent from the big screen for a while, at least in regards to a title picture of this is a Superman solo film, blah, blah, blah. But it's also excitement for the kickoff of a new universe and just seeing where that's going to go. Of course, Supergirl and Lantern stuff might be public. Like Supergirl should hopefully have like some first look stuff. Definitely wouldn't have a trailer, but of course in the week or two to follow, Comic-Con will be around, and assume there'd be some Supergirl and probably Lantern stuff there, which obviously could tie into like some back end, box office for Superman. But hopefully there's like some public stuff, which also gets people excited as well. But there's also just when it comes into the excitement, which I was talking about before, once again, because of the absence, this will be the first Superman solo film that a lot of people go watch in theaters. Like, sure, some people might have been alive when Man of Steel was out, but Man of Steel was also marketed as a more mature Superman film. So, like, if you were 7 or 8, maybe your mum didn't take you. Maybe you only went, like I saw it in theaters, but it came out when I was like 18 or 19 or something, or 19, I think it was, when it came out. So, obviously I went and saw it, but someone that was like 6, maybe even younger than 12, maybe didn't go see Man of Steel. So this is now they're mid-20s, maybe even late 20s or whatever it is, depending on if you went and saw it. Now you have this Superman film there, let alone if you're only like 18 or something, you definitely didn't go watch the movie, or you probably didn't for the most part, let alone 15, 14, blah, blah, blah. So there's that excitement of this is the first Superman film that you're going to watch. I'm sure it was the same for a lot of people, maybe when they went and saw like Spider-Man Homecoming. Maybe they didn't see any of those other Spider-Man films in the theater, or whatever it might be. Like, maybe even the Batman. Of course there was Batman v Superman, but that wasn't a solo Batman film. But the Batman in 2022 was the first solo Batman film since The Dark Knight Rises, which was 2012, so 10 years. So that probably plays into it. There's a lot of excitement that you finally get to see this in theaters, you know, on the a day of release or the opening weekend. You're not watching it on a Blu-ray or a DVD at home or on Netflix or whatever it is. You're there, you're seeing it, and that's in its release cycle. And that would be exciting if you'd never done that, never done that before, potentially with just a character in general, or maybe Superman's your favorite character. But overall, I think those are my top pushing things, if you want to put in regards to why Superman as a film will succeed. Of course, we're gonna have to wait, what, 5 months or something, less than 5 months now, to find out the results. So hopefully it all goes well. But of course, if you enjoyed the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it, show support. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on the stuff we went over. Do you agree with them, disagree, have any ones to add? Let me know. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.